Hello, you guys. I am back to discuss a little bit more about the young pre med student that disappeared in the Dominican Republic. However, before I get into that, I want to go over a few things. A lot of people are liking this story to the Natalie Holloway tragedy, and I do remember a lot about it, and I tell you, I hope not. I hope to goodness that this story does not go in that direction for the parents of the young woman that's missing in the Dominican Republic. Now, really quick, for those of you that don't know, Natalie Holloway was 18 years old when her and a bunch of friends went to Aruba. They went in May of 2005. And she met a Dutch international, Jeroen Vandersloot. She met him with her friends at Carlos and Charlie's. Let me quickly add in, after the disappearance of Natalie's, Carlos and Charlie's became so infamous, it seemed like all the teenagers that went on spring break wanted to go to Aruba and go to this place. I remember it clearly. And just like young people do, she was drinking, she was dancing, she was having a good time. And she ended up getting into a car with Jeroen Vandersloot and the Deepak brothers, Deepak Satish. And they claim they dropped her back off at the hotel, but there was no footage saying they dropped her off. It was a circus. It was a fiasco. I remember at one time, all you did was see Natalie Holloway's mother, Beth Holloway. That's all you did was see her everywhere. I get it. I get it. That's your daughter. She was everywhere, everywhere trying to find her daughter. We didn't know till later on because I actually own the movie. But we didn't know till later on that she was sending money, I think $15,000. It was actually a total of $250,000 that she had sent Jeroen Vandersloot. He did get sentenced to 20 years for embezzling, fraud, scamming, everything, because she was just trying to get her daughter by any means. She was trying. Anytime that boy, because he was 18 years old then, so anytime that boy could make $1 off this or have a group of people just surround him and hear about the tacky stories that he was saying, it was awful. It was awful. He was doing that. He ultimately was arrested. I remember it because it was on Nancy Grace. And he had followed a woman back to a hotel room, another young woman who had won some earnings at a casino, if I'm remembering correctly. And he killed her, choked her out, killed her, I think to take her money. And he went to jail for that, you know. Let me add in, her name was Stephanie Flores. And I every 5 minutes you would see Jeroen Vandersloot in the news. You would. I'm so glad we don't have to see him anymore. But you would. He stayed in the news, and we all knew that he had something to do with the disappearance. I mean, I remember them going to different spots of Aruba, blood on a mattress. They said it was a dog's blood, which is kind of weird. But it was a lot of things going on surrounding this. And unfortunately, I'm just now reading that they declared Natalie Holloway dead January 12th, 2012, 7 years after her disappearance. They declared her dead. We knew she was dead when she didn't get back on that flight with her friends. But during this story, I always think, like, why didn't her girls say, no, you're not getting in that car and going with these people anyway? I know I would. But, I guess they're not thinking clearly. But, would you let her get in a car and go with dudes in Alabama when y'all were all there? I hope not. You have to watch out for people. You guys have to really watch out for people. We come together, we leave together. We're all going as one. We're all getting in that little ass car. We're all going. She's not going by herself. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. And a lot of people are liking this story to that situation. And before I go back into the situation that, we all came to discuss right now, I was just reading Joran Vandersloot while incarcerated. He married, got a woman pregnant. Now he's divorcing her because he wants a younger, prettier girlfriend. I think he's like knocking 40 now. So it just shows how disgusting that he was now, how he was then. And I hope that this story doesn't turn out to be like that, where there's no conclusion and I just hope not. Oh, and one more thing about that story. I'm sorry. Things are just flooding back into my head. Joran Vandersloot, his father, had passed away, died abruptly from a heart attack. And Joran then blamed it on his father, that his father had hidden her body under a porch or a house, and they went to look there. Yeah, he was really anything he could possibly say he was doing. I do remember that. I'm so sorry, you guys. I always go to Texas to get to Atlanta. But back at the story at hand, I could see why they are liking it. To that, in a sense, it is a girl out the country, and she, meets a guy. The only difference is Joshua Riibe. He is not, a Dominican, you know, um, he's not from the Dominican Republic. That's the only thing that is different. He was there vacationing as well. So Sudiksha Konanki, okay, she was staying with 6 other females, and you guys see it. They're saying that these females were jealous of her and they didn't care about what was going on with her. I mean, I don't know what's in these females' heads. They say they set her up. They set her up for her demise. Well, they may not have cared for her. They may have thought that she was a little too wild. That's why somebody had put all this footage of her dancing, where I think she is suitable looking and having a good time. That's it. Even wears a cover up as she walks through, the resort instead of just, letting everything hang out like I'm pretty sure a lot of people were doing. So, no, I think that, yeah, one of those females probably did do that. But I also know that they did call the authorities when she did not, report back because they had to catch their flight. So one of them at least did that, right? But setting her up for her demise, I wouldn't go as far as to say that because they didn't know Joshua. They didn't know that whatever happened by her going with him, she was not going to return. They did not know that. So they did not set her up for her demise. Whether or not they cared for her character or not, I don't think that is. And some of the news media sources, not the major ones, but some of them out there, they're showing images and videos of, the young pre-med student hunched over barfing, and also footage of Joshua out there barfing, never together barfing at different times because they are drinking a little bit too much. They're not understanding how much they should be drinking, and hey, so they're doing what young people are doing, whether or not they're on vacation or not. That's what they're doing, you know. So I don't know why they keep. We get it. She was a little intoxicating, not shocking. We get it. But they are separate. That's what I'm taking note of. They're separate, but somehow they linked back up. And this is how they met each other. They met each other, at this resort. They didn't know each other beforehand. They did not come together. A lot of articles are kind of not really saying that they came together, but that a group of college students ended up at the DR. No, they just met each other there, is from what I'm understanding. So Joshua, again, his passport was confiscated and he is being guarded, and he is a person of interest right now. Isn't under arrest, but a person of interest. And he said a lot of things, and they're not really pinpointing exactly what Joshua has said, the difference in his stories that keep changing. He claims the two of them was in waist deep water, quote, kissing a little, end quote, when a wave swept them two apart, and he managed to rescue her back to safety. While he was doing this, he was consuming a lot of salt water, which later on he passed out. When he came 2 hours later, he figured that she took all her stuff and went back to the hotel room. So that's what he's claiming. But they said the story had changed 3 or 4 different times. They're not saying exactly what he said that was different. He says, quote, "The last time I saw her, I asked her, was she okay?" End quote. But he doesn't hear or see her. So I don't get how you're talking to somebody. Is he that drunk? So he assumed she grabbed her things and left. However, her things were still there because they found her cover-up and I think some sandals that she was wearing. They found that all on a hotel lounge chair. So her stuff was left behind. And she had a white bikini. They're saying, I don't know if they found the white bikini. They haven't said that yet. But if they have found the white bikini, that would mean that she was nude. And the investigation would have to go a little bit deeper into what has happened. So they did find some of her stuff. And again, none of these, I don't care if you're in Dominican Republic, if you're in America, they don't tell everything because they're not supposed to. It would hinder an investigation that they are supposed to be having. So they're not going to tell everything. Joshua's parents are pleading for the cops. They're saying that they detained him under irregular conditions. Yeah, you're right. It is irregular. Your son was the last person with this young woman. And when he returns back, he doesn't know her well enough to maybe tell her friends, I don't know where she is, but it's very suspect. That's why he is a person of interest. It's very suspect. That's why he's a suspect, if you ask me. Yeah, because we don't know really exactly what happened. And the fact that he says, he says something about the water. I'm trying to remember exactly what he says. I have little notes here. But he said something, I'm just trying to help them out. The ocean is a dangerous place. Like he says some really shady shit, Joshua does, He does. So what happened? Because the ocean is keeping secrets. They are. Did they sweep her away after he did whatever he came to do? Did he? She was intoxicated. This is a one-in-a-lifetime thing. She's beautiful. She's very pretty. And maybe he was very interested in her. Kissing a little. Did she stop him from the kissing? Is that how it got out of hand? Because otherwise, I believe, and I'm going to say this, I believe if he would have pretty much got what he wanted, he would have, they would have dragged themselves back to the resort together. That's just what I'm saying. I'm just throwing out how I feel, and I'm allowed to say how I feel. So maybe Sudiksha, she stopped him. Maybe she was, sobering up or not as drunk as, it looks like she was after she threw up. Maybe she felt better. Who knows? That's just it. It's a mystery. We don't know. And they're going to give us bits and pieces. Her body has not been recovered yet. But I hope something happens for this young woman's family because 7 years from now, they're going to declare her deceased. And bodies don't normally, float up. I mean, some instances they do, but sometimes they don't. So, yeah, it's very terrible. I think that when these young people go out together, it's nothing that the parents can say because it's going to go in one ear and out the other. You guys collectively, as a crew, as a clique, you guys collectively have to say, look, we go together, we're coming back together. I don't care how hot the guy is. We are leaving together. We go together, we're leaving together, and that's it. And unfortunately, they don't stand by looking out for one another no more. because this is in fact happening a lot. This isn't the first story, or should I say the second story with, the young Indian woman. This is not the second story. And they specifically also wanted everyone to know that the 6 other women that she was with are all Indian women they say they were jealous of her. That's what they are saying. But I want to bring you guys just little bits and pieces. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place with this, but this story is all over the place, So hopefully, I don't know what they're going to do. He's just being detained right now, I guess, until they find some type of evidence. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe had he stuck to one story, eventually they might have let him go, just figuring out she was just, taken out to sea, and that was it. But he keeps changing his story. But again, they won't specifically say what he has said. So if something more substantial happens, more information that makes a little bit more sense, I will definitely bring it to you guys. But I know, deep in my heart, like something has happened to this woman. So justice for Sudiksha,